Yeah.
So I've got a couple of lasting questions. One, it's quite a cheeky one, because I laughed a lot. So do not have a go at Diggs for that. But tell us about when you had to go on this morning, because Diggs commandeered your whole of your family.
Yeah, so my husband is Colombian, and it was always gearing up to that England were probably going to get Colombia at some point of the World Cup, but obviously they did.
What year was this?
So this was 2018. This was in Russia, and so I wasn't there. I wasn't here. Obviously, I was in Russia, and he sent me a picture. His parents had come round, and they got all of them in their Colombia shirts. Plus, then they put the kids into Colombia shirts.
Yeah.
Painted their faces, and they were like, "From Mars, Colombia," and I was like, so I tweeted it just very innocently. This is what happens, you know, if your wife heads off to the World Cup and you leave your husband in charge of the children. And really, it must have been a really slow news day, because it got picked up. It got picked up by the Times, which I thought, okay, that's quite funny. And then as soon as the Times ran it, then I was just getting loads of phone calls. BBC Breakfast had him on.
Yeah.
And they did a live with me, and then they cut to him in our kitchen. It was so random.
I never laugh so much because you're a professional one and good to camera, but I genuinely have known you a long time, and I could see you were quite upset. You were still underlying borderline, like furious that this was happening. But in professional TV mode.
He ended up on the sofa with Phil and Holly.
Yes. I mean, I genuinely have never laughed so much, because actually, I don't mean to be funny, but Diggs has been on this morning and you haven't, on the sofa.
I know. Well, I was on this morning, on a live sofa, but not on the sofa. But the weird thing is that obviously you know what Diego does for a living. So Diego had their exec producer on Dancing on Ice, and he was then on their sofa talking about me. It was so weird. But you know, the children were very confused.
Were they? Are they still in therapy?
Yeah. Well, so my eldest was like, I'm not going on TV. I'm not doing it. But the little one was quite excited to do it. But she was only, so how old was she then? She was only 2.5.
Yeah.
So she would have not made the best interview. But yeah, it was quite funny. I was getting phone calls. I did BBC Birmingham radio. I did all kinds of that day. And I was trying to, you know, England were gearing up for quite a big game. So I was quite busy, funnily enough.
I think that's when I called you and said you needed a manager. I'm sure. I was like, stop filtering your own interviews.
This is the thing, because that game, that obviously Russia was, we were 3 hours ahead, 4 hours ahead.
Yeah.
So that game, I didn't finish work. I did a 22-hour shift.
You did, yeah.
22 hours I did that day because of all this madness.
It was funny. It was funny if you knew, because I know you both, but genuinely I was like, she's going to be... What have you done to our children? And then you put it on national TV. I do think I've got the most amazing black book. I'm hoping you agree. But I'm giving you my black book, and I'm going to ask you who you would... I might give you the two most people that you would love to interview. I'm sorry. Wow. And this is totally unprepared, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I'm going to say alive, because otherwise you're going to say, you know, then that just opens it up too much.
Does it have to be in sport, or can it be anyone?
It can be anyone.
Oh my God. I don't know.
I'm giving you the exclusive, Natalie. Come on.
I know. I haven't ever really given it too much thought. I've interviewed. You haven't
got a wish list. Do you think if you met the person?
I don't really honestly know, because there's plenty of people I'd like to meet, but not necessarily to interview them.
Oh, wow.
I don't know. I honestly, you've completely stumped me. That's very unlike me, isn't it?
Yes.
That's unlike me to not be able to answer a question. I can't think of any.
A wish list of people that you think I would love. I mean, you might have done them all, which is obviously That sounds awful. That language is probably quite wrong.
No, but I know what you mean.
But you know what I mean.
Obviously, in sport, there aren't many people that I haven't really spoken to, so that I would want to. Like I was really, the only times I've ever really been genuinely sort of starstruck.
Yeah, go on. That's a great question.
I interviewed Tom Cruise twice.
Yeah.
That was quite a starstruck moment.
I hear he's quite fun. Good, good.
He actually did a video for Diego asking him why he hadn't asked me to marry him at that point.
Oh my God, that's
quite cool. And our best man, he actually, when he asked me to marry him, he said, "I'm not doing this because Tom Cruise told me to." So that's quite cool.
I mean, that's very cool.
Yeah. He said he just, when he got engaged to Katie Holmes and he jumped on the couch on Oprah.
Yeah.
I said to him, you've been with her maybe 3 months. I've been with my boyfriend 8 years, still no ring. What's going on? And he said, "What's his name?" And I said, "It's Diego." And he said, and he looked in my camera like this. He was like, "Diego, buddy, jump on a couch, tell her you love her, get the ring on her finger, man." So that was quite funny. I've only ever got one celebrity autograph in my whole time.
Okay.
Because I find it's a real no. That's one of my Room 101s. Don't get autographs. That's just
I know. Okay, so I'm going to challenge you on that because professionally it's really poor show. Yeah. And I totally appreciate that, but I've been lucky enough to have some incredible experiences, and whilst now children growing up are able to capture them, I've certainly maybe missed opportunities. So for example, I worked with Muhammad Ali for 3.5 weeks, and he gave me a nickname and this whole thing, and actually I'd love to have had that real kind of soft, I don't know whether I would ever ask him for a photo. We know how awkward that just feels, but there is that moment which you want to capture for yourself. And I genuinely, for him, I would have loved that. He called me the tree and he was brilliant, and I missed that. And the same thing with autographs. It's like, I mean, I can never imagine asking for an autograph. And also, what would you do with it now? Like you used to have autographs, didn't you?
The only time I've ever done it was I asked Bradley Wiggins to sign my Tour de France pass when I covered the Tour de France that he won. So I was like, "Actually, can you sign this?" And he was like, "Yes." So
okay,
I've got that.
Am I allowed to drill down into that and ask you why out of everybody?
Well, because it was the first time he'd ever won it. It was the first Brit to win the Tour de France.
Right, okay.
And so it felt, I covered it. That was a very hard thing to cover as a non-rights holder.
Okay.
And, we worked really, really hard, and I felt like it was it just felt special, that moment.
Okay.
So I did. I do get photos with people. So if I interview, if I've got time, I will get a photo just for Instagram.
But I think that's a new thing, and it's a more acceptable thing. When we first started out, when you were in journalism and I was repping athletes and celebrities, at no point would they have taken you seriously if you'd got out your sort of Polaroid camera and sort of like have a photo. Now it's accepted. It's so quick, it's easy, it is for the gram, you are creating your own content, but it's not, it wasn't the same. It wasn't the same then. It really wasn't, was it?
No. And now, if I'm interviewing someone, my producer will usually say, "I got a couple of snaps for you just while you were interviewing."
Yeah.
That's fine. And then at the end, like I did an interview with Kylian Mbappe just before lockdown last year. And I was like, "I'm not leaving Paris without a shot of me with Mbappe." He just gave me the best interview. I was just so bowled over with how brilliant he was and how brilliant English was, which I wasn't expecting. I was like, "I've got to get a photo with him." He was awesome. We got on really well, and he was great. So I was like, "I'm not leaving without that." But obviously, if the interview hadn't gone well, I wouldn't have asked for a photo. That's just so. That's
who's one where you wished you had taken a photo with? Mine was Zidane. I've been fortunate enough to work with him a couple of times. And he is an absolute gent, and he's fantastic. And I'm sure you've come across this before. And actually, I don't think you speak any other languages. I think I know. Yeah,
I can understand Spanish, but I don't speak it very well.
But yes, of course, because of digs. Whereas, I mean, I've got ski girl French, but when we wouldn't want to do interviews in them. But often when we meet athletes and celebrities who say, I don't speak English, in perfect English, you're like, yeah, but you are okay with that. And Zidane was like, I just don't think I can do my gig in English. And I was like, okay, we'll see how we go. And we stayed in a hotel that he chose. Should have probably remembered what that was. I've never slept in a bed like it in my life. It was amazing. It was also very funny. And then this guy turned up. He was by himself and on time. I thought, this cannot be Zidane. I mean, like, exactly, this cannot be Zidane. He came in, he was super polite, he was so briefed, he knew everything. And I was like, you were a real joy to work with, actually, and still is. And I get on very well with his PA, but I wish I'd captured that, I think. So have you got one?
I was just thinking that when I was a lot younger and quite young, naive journalist, I was sent off to do something. Can't remember what it was, but I had my little dictaphone and everything, and it was with Bobby Robson. And he went, "What is it you want, girl? What is it you want?" So I was like, oh, and I sort of asked him, and he was just so lovely and very to the point, but so and it's little moments like that. Obviously, we'll never get that back. And you know, it would have been nice to have a reminder of that, because I was a young journalist out in my career of sport, and he was Bobby Robson.
I know.
So yeah, that would have been amazing, I think.
Yeah,
I'm really, I do get to work with a lot of ex-England managers and ex-England players.
Well, you did something for me, didn't you? Because I love it when you do interviews and stuff. So
I loved doing that.
It's stressful, this business.
Yeah, but I loved doing that with Glenn, and I still obviously see Glenn at tournaments and things, and saw him in Russia, and yeah, he was brilliant. He was great.
Yeah, he's like, he was my first, what we call gaffer, at the FA. And it was so funny because we